Am I audible? Am I audible to all of you? Thank you. Vaibhavi is there? Lord Vaibhavi. Vaibhavi, please explain this chart. Yeah. Hmm. 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 What is unit? Yes. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. Okay. Please see it carefully. Please see it carefully. You're talking about lactose. You're talking about milk sugar lactose. Hmm. 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 Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. 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 Okay. Hmm. 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 Cows. Yes. 88 is human. 88 is human. Okay. Hmm. 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 Yeah. Hmm. 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 Okay. So whenever our focus is on energy consumption, proportion of fat, proportion of protein, and calcium. Okay, the good source is buffalo. You can mute yourself. You can mute yourself, Vaibhavi. Yeah, mute yourself. Okay. So what we said, Vaibhavi, mute yourself. Okay. Chauhan, Priyanka Chauhan, mute yourself. Okay. So what we said is fats, proteins, calcium, and energy content. It is high in buffalo milk. Okay. If we talk about macronutrient, milk sugar, human milk is a rich source for this. Okay. Overall, what we can say, iron. For iron, milk is poor source. Okay. And in human milk, since there is no value of iron is given, the practical aspect which is concerned is only breastfed infants they will be included in high risk group as far as anemia is concerned. Okay, so possibility of occurrence of iron deficiency anemia is more in those infants which are only breastfed. Okay, and if weaning or the supplementary food is not started after the 6 months of age. Okay, now let's see the animal food. Okay, which already yesterday we have seen introduction and we have completed milk also. Okay, so let's start our discussion on the egg. Okay, first we will see what is the average weight of the egg. Here we are talking of hen's egg. Okay, the average weight of hen's egg, it may vary from 50 grams to 60 grams. Okay, so on an average its weight is 50 to 60 grams. Okay, there are three different parts which are concerned with the egg. Okay, outermost part is the shell, and this shell it constitutes about 12%. Okay, next is egg white. Okay, egg white, it constitutes 58%, and this portion of egg, that is egg white, it is rich in protein. Okay, so proteins are present in egg white. The next part, it is yellow bulk, or we can call it as egg yolk. Okay, it is 30%, and egg yolk, it is mainly rich in the fats. To be specifically, it is mainly rich in cholesterol. Okay, so shall we said egg white for proteins and yellow bulk or egg yolk, the major content of this yellow bulk is cholesterol. Okay, regarding nutritive value of egg, what we can say, egg, it contains all nutrients. It contains all nutrients except carbohydrates and vitamin C. Okay. Regarding the protein content, whatever different proteins that are present in egg white, okay, these proteins, they are better quality protein, or we can say they are first class protein, or we can say they are biologically complete proteins. Okay, so whenever we use the term biologically complete proteins, now I think it should click instantly to your mind that it contains all essential amino acids. Okay, so consumption of eggs, it can provide us leucine, isoleucine, lysine, phenylalanine, methionine, tryptophan, threonine, valine, histidine. Okay, whatever different essential amino acids are there, which are mainly required for the purpose of the growth and for the purpose of formation of new tissues. Okay, all can be provided from the eggs. Regarding vitamin content, the vitamins which are present in the egg consumption can provide all fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamin. Only one exception is there, that is of vitamin C. Okay, so all vitamins excluding vitamin C we can get from egg. Regarding trace elements which are present in the eggs, they are very good sources for calcium and phosphorus as far as major minerals are concerned. Okay, and consumption of eggs, it can provide different trace elements. Mainly, it includes iron and it includes zinc. Okay, so calcium, phosphorus, iron, zinc, and other trace elements we can get from consumption of eggs. Okay, now what is the nutritive value if we talk regarding consumption of a single egg? Okay, so on an average we know that the weight of the egg, it varies from 50 to 60 grams. Okay, so consumption of this egg, it provides approximately 70 kilocalories. Okay, and when we consume one egg, we can get 6 grams of proteins. Okay, we get 6 grams of proteins, and similarly what we get is 6 grams of fat. Okay, 6 grams of proteins, 6 grams of fats. Calcium, it is about 30 milligram, and iron, it is about 1.5 milligram. Okay, so it is a very good source for protein, fats, as well as calcium and iron. Now one more thing is to understand the difference whether we should consume raw eggs or not. Okay, so there are various things, two three important things that goes in favor of consumption of eggs in boiled form or cooked form. Okay, so ideally we should not consume eggs in raw form. Okay, so first reason why we should not consume the raw eggs. Okay, there is possibility of occurrence of infection due to salmonella bacteria or salmonella microorganisms. Okay, one thing, whenever we are consuming raw eggs, there is possibility that this egg may get contaminated with salmonella microorganisms and it may result in infection. Okay, when we boil it, these microorganisms are destroyed. Okay, second thing, if you compare the nutritional quality, the nutritional quality of boiled egg is superior to raw egg. Okay, and whenever we consume raw eggs, okay, the egg white, it is not assimilated by intestinal mucosa. So our mucosa is not able to assimilate this egg white if we consume it in raw form. Okay, so it is very essential that it should be cooked before consumption, right? So second thing what we said is assimilation. So egg white, it is not assimilated. Third important aspect is in raw egg there are different anti-nutritional factors present. Okay, presence of anti-nutritional factors we can see in raw eggs. Okay, most important example under this is avidin. Okay, this is avidin. We are talking about anti-nutritional factors. Okay, this is avidin. Avidin, what we said, it is present in raw eggs. Now what happens, this avidin, if we consume eggs in raw form, it interferes with bioavailability of another B group vitamin. Okay, and name of this vitamin is biotin. Okay, तो अगर हम रॉ फॉर्म में एग्स को कंज्यूम करने वाले हैं तो एविडिन इट बाइंड्स टू बायोटिन. ओके, वो बायोटिन को बाइंड हो जाएगा और बायोटिन की बायो अवेलेबिलिटी हमारी बॉडी में कम हो जाएगी. ओके, so this is the important aspect which is concerned with the consumption of raw egg. Now what happens when we boil it? Okay, during the process of boiling, this avidin, it is destroyed. Okay, avidin is destroyed. So consumption of boiled egg, definitely we can say it increases the bioavailability of biotin. Okay, so there are 2-3 important reasons, plus the other anti-nutritional factors which are present in raw eggs. They are destroyed during the boiling process. Okay, so that's why one of the important aspect. So generally we should not consume eggs in raw form. Okay, regarding the content, cholesterol content, okay, what we said, the yellow bulk or egg yolk, it is rich in cholesterol. Okay, so one egg, it may contain about 250 milligram of cholesterol. Okay, now we are talking about cholesterol content of the egg, and one egg, it may contain 250 milligram of cholesterol. What is practical application of this thing? Okay, now we have studied the recommendation related to consumption of nutrients, okay, which is given by WHO and FAO expert committee. Okay, the recommendations given in the year 2008 already we have studied in relation to fats. Okay, can you recollect what is the recommendation given by this expert group regarding consumption of cholesterol? Can any one of you tell me? Regarding cholesterol consumption, what is the recommendation, what is the guideline given by this committee? एक दिन में हमें कितना कोलेस्ट्रॉल लेना चाहिए? Yes, is there anyone? Is there anyone? Gandhali, are you there? Gandhali, can you answer? Can you answer the recommendation? Yeah, ideally it should be less than 300 milligrams. Okay, now yes, okay, you can mute yourself. So what is the recommendation is 300 मिलीग्राम से कम हमें कोलेस्ट्रॉल लेना है, क्योंकि कोलेस्ट्रॉल इट इज सिंथेसाइज्ड इन आवर बॉडी ऑल्सो. Okay, so if we pay attention to this guideline, okay, so egg intake, it should be restricted, it should be reduced in all those individuals who are having higher risk of CHD. Okay, so coronary heart disease का रिस्क जो लोगों को है उन्हें हमें एग का कंजम्पशन कम करने के लिए बोलना है. द रीजन इज कंसर्न विद द कोलेस्ट्रॉल कंटेंट ऑफ द एग. ओके, NPU value, if you see net protein utilization value of egg, it is 100. Okay, this is 100. So this is very good as far as nitrogen retention from the intake is concerned. And just one practical aspect which is concerned with the egg, how to identify the fresh egg and decomposed eggs. Okay, so freshness of egg अगर हमें identify करना है तो simply we can take 10% of saline or we can take water. Okay, तो इसमें जब हम egg डाल देंगे तो it remains horizontal, it is not tilted or it is not in vertical position. Okay, so it sinks. But if it is decomposed, it floats. Okay, so if eggs floats in 10% saline or water, definitely we can say this is decomposed and should not be used. Okay, so this is just one additional thing which is related with the egg. Now let's proceed further and see the details of fish. Okay, fish, it is a very good source for calcium, and the most important thing in fish is PUFAs. Okay, so PUFAs, most important thing. Now since it is rich in PUFAs, okay, it has protective effect against cardiovascular diseases. That's what we can say in introduction to fish. Okay, very good source for calcium, and rather than calcium, here attention should be paid to PUFAs. Okay, since it is rich in PUFAs, it has protective action against cardiovascular diseases. Okay, fish, we can say they are excellent source of proteins. Okay, and these proteins again they are biologically complete proteins and they have good biological value also. Okay, biologically complete भी है और उनका biological value भी अच्छा है. Okay, regarding the fats which are present, so right now we said these fish they are rich in PUFAs. Okay, so basically fish contains unsaturated fats. Okay, to be specifically we can say these are polyunsaturated fatty acids that we can get mainly from fish. Okay, and in intro what we said कि this is having protective effect against cardiovascular diseases. So fish are generally advised to patients with CVDs. Okay, so why this is so? If at all you can recollect the functions of fatty acids or PUFAs that we discussed. Okay, so first thing, if you talk about arachidonic acid or regarding linoleic acid. Okay, so what these fatty acids do, they prevent platelet aggregation and they help to prevent thrombosis. Okay, another important thing as far as CVDs is concerned, in relation to PUFAs or from PUFAs, again we can say omega 3 fatty acids, or to the same you can say essential fatty acids. Okay, these are eicosapentaenoic acid or docosahexaenoic acid. Okay, what is protective effect of these essential fatty acids or PUFAs? They mainly help to reduce serum cholesterol level. They are having hypocholesteremic effect, plus they helps to reduce LDL level. Okay, so that's why fish they are generally advised to the patients with CHD. Okay, regarding fish liver oils, so two things or two vitamins should strike to your mind immediately when we talk about fish liver oils. So fish liver oils are richest source for which two vitamins? Which two vitamins? Yes. Can you tell me ranking of the names that you are supposed to mention from different fish liver oils, on the topmost, then second, and then followed by followed by one more name. Yeah. So different fish liver oils, don't forget these are the richest source for vitamin A and vitamin D. Okay. Regarding minerals, fish they are rich in calcium, they are rich in phosphorus. Okay. And if we talk about seawater fish, they are also rich in fluorides and iodine. Okay. So in addition, we can get fluorides and iodine from seawater fish. Okay, whatever fish proteins are there, they are easily digestible. So that's why we said they are having higher value related with the biological value of these proteins. Okay, but one of the most important thing, as we said for eggs, okay, we can get different nutrients from eggs except carbohydrates. So similarly, fish it is devoid of carbohydrates. Okay, so no source for carbohydrates but excellent source for proteins. Okay, and excellent source for PUFAs. Next from animal food is meat. Okay, so in meat what we can include? We can include beef, we can include pork, or we can say mutton, poultry, or we can say about organ meat like liver or kidney. Okay, either we can use these different terminologies or we can simply say it is flesh of different animals. So it can be flesh of cattle, sheep, goats, or even pig. Okay, just in one word we can say it is flesh. Okay, and different terminologies are available regarding the source from which animal we are getting this flesh. Okay, so regarding meat, it is very good source for protein. Okay, protein content of meat, it varies from 15% to 20%. Okay, again the proteins, they are having good quality, or they are biologically complete proteins. So again, from meat proteins we can get all essential amino acids. Okay, regarding fats, now if you compare fish and meat together, for fish what we said, they are important sources for unsaturated fats or unsaturated fatty acids. Okay, but this meat, it is mainly rich in saturated fats. Okay, it is rich in saturated fats. Okay, for saturated fatty acids we have seen the examples like stearic acid, palmitic acid, and even you know that saturated fatty acids are synthesized in our body, so we can get additional saturated fats when we consume meat. Okay, regarding iron, the most important aspect which is concerned with the meat is iron content. Okay, so meat, it is a very good source for iron. Okay, if you see the value given by KPARC, it is 2 to 4 milligram per 100 gram. Okay, in addition to iron we can get zinc. Okay, we can get phosphorus from meat. But if you see the calcium, so meat as a source for calcium and phosphorus. ओके, ये दोनों को अगर हम कंपेयर करते हैं तो मीट, इट इज पुअर सोर्स ऑफ कैल्शियम, बट इट इज रिच फॉर फॉस्फोरस. ओके, दोनों में कंपैरिजन किया तो कैल्शियम का कंटेंट कम है, विच varies to 10 to 25 milligram per 100 gram, but it is a rich source for phosphorus. Okay, please permit me to end this meeting and please rejoin. Am I audible? Am I audible? Yeah. Thank thank you. Thank you. So we are discussing about meat, okay? Mineral content already we have seen. Now from mineral content, let's focus on the iron, okay? Meat as source for iron. So definitely this is one of the good source. And if we talk about organ meat, okay? If we talk about organ meat, organ meat like liver and kidney, they are the rich sources. They are the rich sources for iron as far as meat is concerned. Okay. Now, what is the practical application of this? Okay. So, basically, whenever you advise the diet for anemic individuals, okay, if it is iron deficiency anemia, okay, and if your patient is taking both mixed diet, okay, if the person is taking mixed diet, in that case the first thing that should be advised for iron is the meat. Okay, what is the reason for this? What is the reason for this? Now this already we have discussed in iron, okay, if at all you can recall. Can you tell the two subtitles which I told you to remember regarding sources of iron? What two names that you must know whenever you mention sources for iron? Can any one of you tell me? I told you must know point, okay, तो आपको ये पता होना ही चाहिए sources of iron. Yes, it is heme iron and non heme iron. एंड हीम आयन में हमने सबसे पहले इंक्लूड किया था मीट फॉलोड बाय अदर थिंग्स. ओके, सो वट एवर हीम आयन इज देयर, दिस इज इजीली एब्जॉर्ब्ड. ओके, तो जो कुछ भी आयन है बॉडी उसको इजी एब्जॉर्ब करने वाली है. ओके, प्लस जो ये आयन है दिस प्रमोट्स एब्जॉर्प्शन ऑफ आयन फ्रॉम plant sources. Okay, so this is one of the important thing as far as bioavailability of iron after consumption is of different food is concerned. Okay, तो मीट से जो आयन आता है वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बॉडी में एब्जॉर्ब किया जाता है. Okay, so for that reason what we are supposed to know is the what foods that you are going to advise to your patient. Okay, so for anemic patient don't forget, if patient is taking mixed diet, okay, meat or the this heme iron, it should be advised. Okay, and the reason now you know. Okay, net protein value of meat, it is 80. One more practical aspect which is concerned with the consumption of meat. Okay, so utility we have seen in iron deficiency anemia, definitely this is one of the valuable food. This is one of the valuable food. Okay, but at the same time if this meat is contaminated, okay, consumption of contaminated meat, it can lead to different diseases. Okay, and we can call these diseases as meat borne diseases. Okay, we can call these diseases as meat borne diseases. So here there are a few examples, so like anthrax, like brucellosis, or even it can cause food poisoning. Okay, even it can cause food poisoning. Can you see screen? Is screen is visible to all of you? Yes. Yes, now who is there? Now who is there? Hmm. Hmm. काय आपण त्या दिवशीच म्हटलो होतो, राईट? हम्म. बघा आता काय, आता मी एक्सक्यूज नाही करणार कुणाला. हम्म. There won't be any excuse to your batch, both batches. Okay? Both batches. Now you please be prepared, all of you. Okay? Please be prepared. ठीक है. ओके. किसने किया? कोई बता सकता है मुझे? किसने किया? यस. Every time there won't be any mistake, na? Am I right? Every time there won't be mistake. Hmm? ठीक है. I will talk once we will finish our topic regarding this afterwards. Okay, so what we said is net protein utilization is 80. Okay, please see, it's my kind request to all those participants. Okay, these videos we are uploading on YouTube. Okay, and this reflects your quality. Okay, this reflects your level, this reflects your quality. Okay, so this is request to you. Okay, those who want to spoil the lecture, don't enter, don't enter. Okay. Yeah, so regarding net protein utilization, we said its value is 80, and right now we are discussing whenever we consume contaminated meat, okay, there is possibility of occurrence of different diseases, and to these diseases we called as meat-borne diseases. Okay, we called it as meat-borne diseases. So two, three examples we have seen. In addition, you should not forget the parasitic infections. Okay, the infections which are mainly caused by cystodes or tapeworms. Okay, so can you recall the two important tapeworms or cystodes concerned with consumption of the meat and the disease? Yes. Yes, and yes. Okay, so don't forget it's Taenia solium and Taenia saccharata. Occurrence of Taeniasis, okay, which is concerned with consumption of contaminated meat. Okay, so here you can see the comparison which is concerned with the meat, goat, fish, hen's egg, okay, liver goat, okay. Then among this, it's meat goat, very rich for proteins, okay. Then hen's egg, it is rich in fats, okay. Liver goat, it is rich in proteins. Regarding fish, you can get 19.5 grams of proteins, okay, 1.5 milligrams of minerals, okay. So since these specimens are not available in our department, won't be asked for your exam. Okay, let's proceed further and see fats and oils. Okay, next in rank, we are discussing nutritional profiles of principal food, and here we are following the ranking as per their nutritive value. Okay, so next in ranks are fats and oils. Now, fats and oils basically they are very good sources. They are very good sources of energy. Okay, regarding fats, even in introduction, we said the same thing. They are concentrated sources of energy. Now, here you know that when we talk about the animal fats, okay, and when we talk about the vegetable oils, regarding animal fats, they are rich in saturated fats. Okay, they are rich in saturated fats. And if we talk about vegetable oils, okay, vegetable oils, they are rich in PUFAs. Okay, but just two exceptions that we discussed. Okay, can you recollect the names of these two oils? Okay, though we are getting these from vegetable sources, They are rich in saturated fats. Yes, when we discussed fats, we classified the fats as fatty acids as saturated and unsaturated. Okay, in saturated fatty acids, we said that animal fats are rich in saturated fats. Simultaneously, two oils we included from vegetable oils. Can any one of you? Palmitic, that is saturated fatty acid. Palmitic acid is कौन से ऑयल है? Palmitic, or you can say palm oil, right? Any other? Yes, yes, absolutely right. It's coconut oil and palm oil. Okay. So, regarding vegetable oils, one more important thing to remember, vegetable oils, they do not contain vitamin A and vitamin D. Okay. But if you recall now the process of hydrogenation, okay, where we convert these vegetable oils into vanaspati. Okay, that vanaspati is fortified with vitamin A and D. Okay, so vegetable oils specifically, if we talk about this, they do not contain vitamin A and D, but the vanaspati or even margarine, it is also prepared from vegetable oils. Okay, so these are the good sources for vitamin A and D, but this is due to fortification. This is due to fortification of these food articles. Now, what is the clinical significance of consumption of saturated fats? If high amount of saturated fats are consumed in our diet, okay, if high amount of saturated fats are there, it is significantly associated with occurrence of ischemic heart disease, okay, or you can say CHD. Okay, saturated fats अगर डाइट में ज़्यादा है तो CHD की पॉसिबिलिटी ज़्यादा है. And one more thing related to the cooking things, you are supposed to know that nutritive value of fats, it can be reduced due to repeated heating, or repeated reuse of these oils. Okay, अगर हम उनको repeatedly heat करते हैं oils को तो उसका nutritive value कम होने वाला है. और अगर डाइट में सैचुरेटेड फैट्स ज़्यादा है तो IHD की पॉसिबिलिटी है. Next is sugar and jaggery. Sugar and jaggery, it is used as sweetening agent. Okay, so most important use इसका है sweetening agent. This is very rich in carbohydrates. Okay, so sugar and jaggery, they are richest sources for carbohydrates. Okay, regarding preparation of sugar in India, sugar it is mainly prepared from sugar cane. Okay, ऊसापासनं बनवली जाते. At other places it is prepared from sugar beet also. Okay, the most important aspect regarding sugar is to understand a refined sugar. Okay, so refined cane sugar, it contains, okay, refined cane sugar, it contains 99.4% of sucrose. Okay, so that's why for sucrose, what we said, it is the for sucrose, what we said, the richest source is refined sugar or table sugar, what we call it as table sugar or refined sugar. Okay, तो उसमें sucrose है, मतलब glucose and fructose. Okay, at the same time, if you talk about the nutritive value, okay, K Park has mentioned that refined sugar has no nutritive value. Okay, but if you refer to other textbooks of community medicine, some are saying that it is having very little nutritional value. Okay, the nutrients, they are present in negligible amount. Okay, so theoretically we can say this, but practical aspect, simply we should have to consider these refined sugar as non-nutritious. Okay, these are non-nutritious. Consumption of these refined sugar, it is not going to provide us any nutrient. Okay, if we talk about jaggery, it is one of the good source for iron, provided if it is prepared in iron vessels. Okay, so the technology will also affect the iron content which is present in the jaggery. Okay. Regarding honey, when we talk about sugar, jaggery, or some sources which are very rich in carbohydrates, you should know about honey. Okay, so honey, it also contains 75% of sugar, and since we are saying it is glucose and fructose, once again it is sucrose. Okay, so sucrose we can get it from refined sugar. Okay, where we said 99.4% sucrose is present. Okay, and secondly, honey, where it contains 75% of the sucrose. Okay, again, for planning diet of diabetic individuals, this aspect should be taken into consideration. Okay, so majority of diabetics, they say honey is good. Okay, but when we say that honey is good, simultaneously you should know the sucrose content of the honey. What can happen if these sugars, or to be specifically it's refined sugar, it is taken in excess amount? Okay, so excess consumption of refined sugar, but it is in the form of processed foods like chocolates and all that things, that can lead to dental caries. Okay, and when we talk about the sugar, okay, refined sugar, whenever it is consumed in excess amount, okay, it is associated with obesity and it is associated with CHT. Okay, so there are two important aspects that are concerned with the कंजम्पशन ऑफ रिफाइंड शुगर. ओके, तो जितना कार्बोहाइड्रेट ज़्यादा लेने वाले हैं, कार्बोहाइड्रेट में हमने देखा एक्सेस ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट दे विल बी स्टोर्ड, okay, in the adipose tissue in the form of fats or triglycerides. Okay, so since excess कन्वर्जन, एक्सेस कैलोरीज है, एक्सेस कार्बोहाइड्रेट है, वो बॉडी में स्टोर होने वाले हैं. ओके, एंड दीज शुगर्स दे आर वेरी गुड सोर्सेज फॉर कैलोरीज. ओके, सो दैट्स व्हाई व्हाट वी कैन से excess consumption of refined sugar, it is associated with obesity and it is associated with CHT. Next is different condiments and spices. Okay, so condiments and spices, basically they helps to improve the taste. Okay, they helps to improve flavor and even they stimulate appetite. Okay, so there are various things that are concerned with the condiments and spices. Okay, different examples under condiments and spices you can include asafoetida, okay, cardamom, it's ginger, garlic, cloves, cumin, cinnamon, black pepper, it's mustard, tamarind. Okay, or you can say chili powder also. Okay, so there are so many things which are included under condiments and spices. Okay, the most important function, few things we already said, but in addition to that, they increases palatability. Okay, they increases palatability. And one more thing, few of these condiments and spices, they contains oils. Okay, and the oils which are present, they are having carminative properties. Okay, they are having carminative properties and hence they are helpful in digestion. Okay, they are helpful in digestion. In addition, if we specifically talk about the garlic and asafoetida, okay, regarding garlic and asafoetida, they are having antibacterial properties. Okay, they help to reduce bacterial flora and they can help to prevent flatulence. Okay, one more additional effect of garlic, it is seen, garlic, it is having hypocholesteremic action. Okay, so garlic, it helps to reduce serum cholesterol level. Okay, turmeric, regarding turmeric, majority of you might be knowing it is having anti-inflammatory action. Okay, turmeric का anti-inflammatory action है. If we talk about cumin, okay, so cumin seeds, they are having galactogenic action. So there are various utility aspects that are concerned with condiments and spices. But on the other side, you should know excess consumption, okay, or excess use of spices. Mainly here I am talking about chili powder. Okay, so excess consumption of red chili powder, it may cause damage to the gastric mucosa, or it may predispose the individual to gastric ulcer or peptic ulcer. Okay, so excess consumption of red chili powder, it may be associated with occurrence of gastric ulcer or peptic ulcer. In miscellaneous, we are going to study different beverages. Okay, so it includes tea, coffee, cocoa. It includes soft drinks. It includes alcoholic beverages, and it includes vinegar. From tea, coffee, and cocoa, the most important ingredients which are present in tea and coffee, it is caffeine, and second is tannin. Okay, if we talk first about coffee, caffeine and tannin. Caffeine, when these coffee seeds are roasted, caffeine is the content of tannin, it is reduced. Okay, if we talk about tea, it is rich in caffeine, tannic acid, and theophylline. Okay, but when we add milk, the casein in the milk, it combines with the tannin and it forms harmless complex. Okay, when we talk about the nutritive value of this, a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, it's mainly milk which we add in this contributes to its nutritive value. Okay, regarding consumption of tea, too much drinking of tea, it may cause gastritis, and even it can predispose the person to peptic ulcer. Okay, regarding consumption of tea with meal, okay, this we have discussed already. Consumption of tea with meal, okay, it reduces iron absorption. Okay, yeah, so this is about these beverages. Okay, so now it's my kind request to CR to start with the attendance. Roman, just 1 second. Roman, just 1 second. जे लोक सेकंड सेशनला जॉईन झालेत त्यांनी अटेंडन्स देऊ नका प्लीज. जे लोक फक्त सेकंड सेशनला जॉईन झालेत त्यांनी प्लीज अटेंडन्स देऊ नका. येस, ओके, यू कॅन कंटिन्यू. येस. I can see her name, Bhagyashree. Yes, I can see his name. Paresh Parihar, na? Yes, I can see his name. And even I think Kadam Sagar was present in first session. I don't know, Abika. Huh. Sadhana, I can see her name here.